All right, so we're back, and now we're going to again start with the same kind of examples we've been looking at in the previous one, just have some more to maybe help you through. So we've got the product to two positive integer numbers is 30, and the sum of the two numbers is 11. So what we need to do is go back to here, and we need to say x is equal to one number, and y is equal to other number. Okay, and we don't care which one's first, which one's second. And so we can take x times y is equal to, what the product is 30, and the sum, x plus y, is equal to 11. So like I did last time, I'm going to solve for x. So I'm going to subtract y from both sides. So x equals a negative y plus 11. And so then I'm going to take this piece here, and I'm going to plug it back into my original equation for x, and I get negative y plus 11 times y is equal to 30. Now I'm going to rainbow and multiply both things. So that's a minus y squared plus 11y equals 30. Now I'm going to take everything to the right side, so I end up with a positive y squared. So I'm going to add y squared, subtract 11y, add y squared, subtract 11y. So on the left I get 0, then I get y squared minus 11y plus 30. Okay. Now I have to factor this. So I'm going to have a y and a y, and a minus, because two minuses make a plus, but we get the minus here in the middle. And what two numbers add to 11 but multiply to 30? Well, again, 30 is going to be 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10. And don't forget, there's also the 5 and 6, okay? And so that's going to be 5 times 6 is 30, but 5 plus 6 is 11. So 5 and 6 are going to be our key ones here. So these factors equal to 0. Y minus 5 equals 0. Y minus 6 equals 0. And so therefore, y is equal to 5 and y is equal to 6. And if we plug that into the original part up here, we can say, okay, well, then x is equal to 6. And here, x is equal to 5. And so our two numbers are 5 and 6. Either way we go, we get the same 5 and 6 as their numbers. And again, it doesn't matter which one's first, which one's second. We have the two numbers, 5 and 6. They multiply to 30 and add together to get 11. All right, so same kind of problem. And so we'll have an x and a y. That's going to be first number. And that's going to be our second number, our other number, but it's easy to write first and second. And we know if we multiply them, x times y, that's equal to 18. And if we sum the two, x plus y, that's going to be equal to 9. Well, if we solve this one for x, that's going to be minus y plus 9. Just take y to the other side. Now we say, okay, well, that's going to be plugged back into this, and we get minus y plus 9 times y equals 18. Now we're going to distribute, and so we get negative y squared plus 9y equals 18. Now I'm going to take everything to the right, so add y squared, subtract 9y, add y squared, subtract 9y. So 0 equals y squared minus 9y plus 18. And so 0 is equal to, now I'm going to have two factors, a y and a y, and a minus and a minus. And so what two factors of 18 are going to equal 9 when added? So we have 1 and 18. No, that's going to not be it. We have 2 and 9. So 9 minus 2 is, oh, they're adding together. Sorry, these are adding. So 9 plus 2 is 11. That doesn't work. 3 and 6, oh, that adds to 9. So that'll work. 3 and 6 multiply to 18. And when we add them, they equal the 9. So 0. Y minus 6 equals 0, setting each factor equal to 0. So y equals 3. And here, y equals 6. And so if y equals 3, plug that up here, then that gives us x equals 6. And if y equals 6 up there, x is equal to 3. So the two numbers are 3 and 6. And again, doesn't matter which one is which. Those are the two numbers when you multiply to give 18 and add to get the 9. All right, so we also have rectangles. So again, I'm going to draw my rectangle first. Then I'm going to look and see what it says. The length of a rectangle is 6 inches longer than it is wide. Well, if we say that's the width, length is 6 inches longer, so that's going to be W plus 6. And what do we know? The area is equal to 91. All right, so that says W plus 6 times W equals 91. Distribute here, we get W squared plus 6W equals 91. Subtract 91 from both sides. And so W squared plus 6W minus 91 equals 0. Now we have two factors of a W and a W and a plus and a minus. And the larger one is going to give us our plus sign. And so what two numbers are these? Well, 91 is one of those tricky ones. And they're going to be two prime numbers is what's going to multiply. It's going to be a 7 and it's going to be a 13. So this is one where you just have to kind of keep trying. 1 doesn't work, or 1 and 91 doesn't work. And then 2 won't divide, 3 won't divide, 4 won't, 5 won't, 6 won't, 7 does. And so this is one where you just have to keep going through all the numbers until you hit one that will divide. And then look, does 13 minus 7 equal 6? Yes, it does. And so again, the larger is 13, the smaller is 7. And so now we've got our two values. We can say W plus 13 equals 0 and W minus 7 equals 0. So W equals a negative 13. Can't have a negative length, so it's out. So if we add 7 here, we get W equals 7, and we're on inches. And so that looks to be a good sign, or a good number, because it's positive. Well, what is W then? Our length. Length is 7 plus 6, which is 13 inches. And so that's our two numbers, 13 inches for length, 7 inches for width. And notice those were the two factors we kind of came up with, and that's how it ended up being our two factors here as well. All right, here's another one. So this one, we have the width is W and the length looks to be W plus 7. So that's going to be that. And our area is 144. So what do we have? Well, W plus 7 times W is 144. Again, distribute. So we get W squared plus 7W equals 144. Now we'll subtract 144 from both sides. And so we get W squared plus 7W minus 144 equals 0. All right, so with 144, we have to go through the list. So we have 1 and 144, okay? Then 2 and 72. Now again, what we're looking for are W and W and plus and minus. So the larger minus the smaller. So those don't subtract. 3 and 48, that doesn't work. How about 4 and 36? 5 doesn't work. 6 goes in there, 24. 7 doesn't work. 8 will go in there, 18. And that's still 10, so we're still not close enough. What about 9 and 16? So 16 minus 9. Okay, so that will work. 14, 15, 16. So we want 16 to be the larger, and we want 9 to be the smaller. So W plus 16 equals 0, and W minus 9 equals 0. So W is equal to a minus 16, can have a negative distance. And here W equals 9 inches, so that looks good. And up here, length is equal to 9 plus 7, which is equal to our 16 inches. And that makes sense. 16 times 9 is the 144. And so that would be our values for length and our width. And again, we had to go quite a ways down. We had to keep going through all of them until we hit the one where the difference was equal to 7, but it still had the product to be 144. All right, so here we have another rocket problem. A rocket is launched at t equals 0. Height in feet above sea level as a function of time is given by this nice equation here, function. Now, when does the rocket hit the ground? Well, it hits the ground when h of t is equal to 0. So if we set that equal to 0, that's what we're going to work with. Now, can we factor out a 16 like negative 16 like we did the last time? Well, let's see. If we take it out of here, that's going to be a t squared. Out of here, that's going to be a minus 3t. And 448 divided by 16, that's going to be a 2. That's a 32. That's a 1. That's a 2. That's an 8. And that's going to be 16 times 8, give us a 48. And that's going to be 12. So yeah, so that's an 8. So that's going to be minus 28. So we can divide both sides by negative 16 to get rid of that prefix out here. And so 0 equals t squared minus 3t minus 28. All right, so we need two factors of 28. When we subtract them, we get 3 in the middle. All right, so 28 is going to be 1 and 28. Nope, that didn't subtract. 2 and 14. 14 minus 2 is not 3. 3 doesn't work. 4 and 7, that's 28. 7 minus 4 is 3, so that's what we need. And we need the larger one to be negative, the smaller one to be positive. And so then we can set each of those factors, t plus 3 equals 0, and t minus 7 equals 0. And so here we get t equals a negative 3, and here we get t equals a positive 7. Well, if it starts at 0, then that doesn't make sense because we can't have a negative 3 seconds it hits if it's going to launch and go forward. But it does make sense that 7 seconds later it hits and as 0. So again, we're not starting at 0 where we launch it. We're going to launch and then it's going to come back down and then it's going to hit, and it's going to hit at time equal 7. So this is at time equals 0 when it launches, and so it hits over here at time equals 7. All right, so that's going to be our time when it hits 0 after the launch. All right, another profit one. So again, we have our profit function, and so this is what it is equal to, and we want to again find the break-even point, which is basically when that function is equal to 0. So if we set it equal to 0, minus 25n squared plus 325n plus 1200. I think all those look like they're factorable by 25 because that has a factor of 25, and so will 100. And so 0 equals, pull out that 25, we get n squared. And so then we have to think about that one. I think we had that one last time was a negative 13n. And then this is going to be 25 into 1200. So if we put in 4 here, that's 100, and that's 200. So it's going to be 8. So this is going to be minus 48. So if we divide by our negative 25 to get rid of it, we get, that's a 5. We get 0 equals, and then we have n squared minus 13n minus 48. So what two factors of 48 subtract to give us 13n? And so the larger is going to be the negative. Well, here we have 48, so it's going to be 1 and 48. Those don't equal. 2 and 24, that doesn't equal 13. 3 and 16, that gives us 13. So we want the larger to be negative. So that's 16, the smaller to be positive. That works. So here, n plus 3 equals 0, or n minus 16 equals 0. So here we get n equals a negative 3. Well, we can't make a negative 3 units. But here, n is equal to 16 units. And so that looks to be our break-even point where the profit is equal to 0. Okay? And that's all I have for the extra examples.